What is happening, race fans? Welcome into Post-Race Conversations Live. I'm Kyle Benjamin alongside Brian Nolan. We're still attempting to digest everything we got to witness for the last 9 hours plus in Daytona 500 land. But first, big thanks to My Place Hotels. My Place Hotels is the official hotel sponsor of Frontstretch with plush beds, in-room kitchens. It has been a long day and reading is difficult. My Place Hotels is pet friendly. My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling, and race fans can use promo code FRONTSTRETCH to save 10% on your stay at any of their nationwide properties. That's 10% off nationwide with code FRONTSTRETCH. This racing season, make sure to make My Place your place. And right now, Daytona is William Byron's place.
Yeah, I don't know how, Kyle. But when it's all said and done, that number 24 car, that is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. It might be the most spectacular, beautiful paint scheme that there is in Victory Lane. What is it, 20, 30 minutes after this race, and I still don't know how he did that. I mean, there's so many different layers that we could start with. Where do we start? I mean, I'm truly at a loss for words. It's like when there's like so many people trying to go through a tunnel at the end of like a college football game or an NFL game, and you're all trying to like funnel your way in. That's kind of how my brain is right now when there's so much information. I'm trying to funnel it all into one thing.
A lot happened there on the last lap. From the time they took the green white checker for NASCAR overtime following the massive pileup on the backstretch, which we'll get to in a little bit. I went back and I had to watch the replay because I thought Byron wasn't a factor in this race really at all. And then all of a sudden he comes out on top after that melee on the backstretch. And so I went back and watched. He was seventh or eighth when Hamlin went sideways and just stayed in the gas. He went all the way to the wall and managed to escape. And good for him. The rule with Daytona these days is sometimes you survive. You make it all the way to the end, and last man standing wins. And 2 years in a row, that's been Byron. He's taken the victory as the field piles into the concrete and safer barriers behind him.
And it's two totally different ways. Like last year, you get Ross Chastain spinning on into the grass, caution comes out, boom, he wins. Okay, cool. This year, he's running, I think you said it in a private text, he's running seventh. And then Cole Custer, Denny, Cindric, they all get together. He just stays on the gas. Somehow, someway, he ends up and he gets a victory. And I think during his post-race interview with Jamie Little, I think even he was in shock. Like, he did not even expect that. And when we were talking about, like, who's going to win, who do we think is going to be up there, I mean, sure, we think the Hendrick guys, but, I mean, he's not the number one. We think of Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano. We think of Brad Keselowski. At Dark Horse, we could think of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Sure, they were up there. William Byron was up there, but he wasn't up there contending every single time like Austin Cindric, like Ryan Blaney, like at times Joey Logano. I mean, it felt like this came out of nowhere. And I mean, sometimes it's just better to be lucky than good. And Kyle, he was lucky tonight.
He was lucky. That car was clean. I know they were gearing up for green flag pit stops, of which, according to some information out there, and my memory, there wasn't a single green flag pit stop today. So with stage breaks and the way the cautions fell, no green flag pit stops. So the road crews, they made their money during a slightly tamer time. Green flag pit stops at a plate track are always crazy, but none today. But we had a little bit of everything. There was rain at Daytona, big shock.
Right?
No one saw that coming. So once we finally got the Daytona 500 fully underway in earnest, I thought the racing was pretty good. It was much more involved and engaged and intense. This time around, didn't seem like there were long periods of guys just saving fuel, half throttle. They were mixing it up. Guys were making moves. They were passing. They were seeing what they had available. Drivers who we thought were going to dominate early on, like Denny Hamlin, ran into trouble. He spun. He was involved in the first caution of the race. And lo and behold, he's a mile and a half away from picking up his 4th Daytona 500 championship before he gets cleaned out.
I mean, I was talking with our boss Tom Bowles about this on the live stream with our watch party. Everybody, like mainly the drivers, complained that fuel saving racing, it's awful. For the viewers, for the consumers, it's fantastic. I mean, 3 wide, 180 miles an hour every single lap. I mean, you're on the edge of your seat because you don't know what is going to happen. Someone could get loose at any single time, and it could be calamity. I mean, it was absolutely wild to see. And I mean, when it was all said and done, when there was like 30 to 25 to 20 to go, it started to ramp up. And I mean, Kyle, I've seen a lot of wrecks, and God bless Ryan Preece for never giving up, because if I did one of those wrecks that he was in, I would have given up instantly, because man, oh man, has he taken some shots.
He's they Fox showed that montage of the 3 times he has gone airborne in his career, and there's something about guys named Ryan driving for Jack Roush.
Literally, though.
Yeah. But there's a lot to digest there, and I know NASCAR will do their due diligence. That car's, I guarantee, going back to the R&D center, they'll break it down, try to figure out what happened. But a similar style ramp, like what happened to Ty Gibbs at the Clash, where he clipped wheels and bounced up over. And when that car, we've seen it happen a few times with the next gen car. Those wheels will launch IndyCar-esque almost. Yeah. And Preece went for a wild ride. Certainly great to see him walk away from that. A testament to all the safety advances. But I don't think he was too thrilled with that, based on some of his comments after the race. And all these drivers say the same thing after one of these, is it's only a matter of time. And this is one of those things that NASCAR really needs to be aggressive in addressing. And we've our at-track team has made their appearance. Michael Massey, I know he's had a chance to either talk to Ryan Preece or hear from Ryan Preece. So we will bring Michael on and get his reactions from the guy who was there. Michael, how are you, my friend? What's the good word from Daytona Beach? You're sideways. Now you're,
there we go.
Doing his best Ryan Preece impression, being a little sideways.
Too soon. But great to join you guys. The most important thing of tonight is that Ryan Preece is okay, that he walked away from the wreck. But, I talked to him at the care center, and he's tired of these races. He's tired of flipping. He said that he compared it to just knocking on the same door over and over and expecting a different answer. And I kind of agree with him. And he said, he pointed out he's a married man. He's got a kid. And it's just, he doesn't want, when something bad finally does happen, he doesn't want it to be him that's the one suffering from it. And, I mean, what can you say about that? I mean, I think he's on the money.
I mean, Michael, what can they do? I mean, it felt like this was just like a regular routine wreck, but I mean, this has happened to him last year, and then they replaced the grass, or should I say 2 years, it was either last year or 2 years ago, and they replaced the grass at Daytona because of it. I mean, this is the 3rd massive hit that he's had. What is this, a NASCAR car problem? Is this just the super speedway-esque problem? What is a fix for this?
I think it's not a car problem. I just think that as long as you have racing where everybody is stacked right on top of each other, this is going to happen. Like, this is a possibility. And, like, I don't know. Is there some way to, it sells too well for NASCAR to get rid of the, super speedway drafting races, that they're trying to add more of it. And I don't know. It's just, in motorsports, like, it's one of those things that will never truly be 100% safe. There's always risk involved. The risk going in. But this kind of racing, I almost wonder, back in the day before restrictor plates, it was spread out. It got spread out. And I mean, you might have some scary crashes, but it didn't seem like it was every single time. Maybe, and I've flirted this idea before. Let them run unrestricted. Let them go. I mean, you'll be going faster, but maybe you won't have as many wrecks just every single time we come out here.
I know last year after Priest's tumble in the summer race at Daytona, there was a lot of discussion about what you do aerodynamic wise. A lot of very bright people in the industry. It was the hot topic on all the the Dale Jr. The Dirty Mo podcasts that week, and almost to a person, everybody who drives these cars or works on them said you can't fix it unless you rebuild the car from the ground up, because that's what they did. They built this car on that diffuser, and you'd have to completely re-engineer everything from the suspension to the tires to the wheel combination, brake package, all of it, if you removed the diffuser, which seems to be the leading cause of that. It's like Priest said on his TV interview, it's like walking outside with a giant piece of plywood on a windy day. It's gonna take off. And you've got to take a big swing at things from a NASCAR perspective to try to address some of this. Is that victory lane behind you? Is that the winning car? Is that the winning car? Well, look at that. A front stretch exclusive, ladies and gentlemen, as the winning car from William Byron gets pushed to, I assume, Tech at this point, and then directly from there to the Daytona Museum. Hendrick trading 124. They got one back today, and they're giving one up. So at least their inventory is it's a net zero.
Yeah. Although the one they're getting back, I heard William Byron say on the TV broadcast that it's probably outdated by now. They've come so far in super speedway racing since then that they're kind of getting back to useless car.
Doesn't have all the trick updates that this one today had. So what else did you guys hear at the race? I know you talked to a lot of drivers who came out of the infield care center, a lot of guys post-race. What were the themes? What were some of the talking points?
Oh, I tell you, a guy who was not happy, Kyle Busch.
When is he?
True.
But he wasn't mad at any of the competitors. He was mad at NASCAR itself because he said their policy is the reason he couldn't continue in the race. He said his car was fine, that he could have got back out there and competed for the win, competed for his 20 years of trying moment, but ultimately he had 4 flat tires. He said that when they had the air jack now that is supposed to lift them up and they change the tires out there, and I think he said it didn't. The guy that came up to him with it didn't have any battery or fuel in it or whatever it requires to power those things. And so they towed him to the garage, and they were about to start. They did change the tires. They're about to set him back out there. NASCAR apparently, according to Kyle, they told him that because he was parked where he was parked, he was out of the race. Now, I haven't heard NASCAR's side of it yet. Obviously, there's 2 sides to every story. So we'll be following up to see what the deal is with that. But the thing, it sounds really weird, the fact that Kyle was parked tonight, and maybe that he shouldn't have been.
His wife, Samantha, tweeted during the cleanup that driver, crew chief, they were telling NASCAR, don't hook us up. And apparently the safety crew did that anyway, which kind of leads into our next topic of conversation. But Brian, you've got something to add?
Yeah, Massey, didn't we fix this problem though? How did we fix this problem? But then we created another problem.
That's the NASCAR way, right? You fix one problem, you create 2 more. The whole DVP thing was that the changes to it were supposed to prevent stuff like this from happening. That's why I'm really confused. I've been out here running around, so I haven't been able to seek clarification on it yet. But that's definitely going to be a talking point this week, I believe. Because, the belief is that after you get in a wreck, you should be able to go to the garage, work on it, have a chance to get back out there, and then if you don't meet minimum speed, they'll park you. But I don't know what happened. I don't know what the mix-up was there with the rules.
I want to hit on this comment we got from one of our viewers. I'll give him that. I think this might have been the best Gen 7 500 ever. A lot of passing, a lot of racing, not a lot of follow the leader, fuel saving, very few single file runs. So the race was overall very good. Ryan Blaney, who crashed in the big melee, was in contention there towards the end. He made his way back up to the front. Joey Logano, same thing. He rallied back. So the DVP changes have kept fast cars in contention, but we see the continuing trend that has developed from NASCAR officiating over the last little bit of wild inconsistency that played itself out in spades on that last lap. Now, I know myself included, a lot of other people, when they're so quick on the trigger on a giant track like here in Talladega, when there's a wreck early in the lap or mid lap, and NASCAR's answer is always, well, we got to get the safety crews out there right away. Driver safety is paramount. And it is. If that's their go-to defense every time there is, without fail, a yellow at the end of one of these races, you expect them to make the same call time and time again, because it's the call they made during the duels. It's the call they made during the truck race. It's the call they made during the Xfinity race, where that caution came out immediately. And Denny Hamlin was sideways for about 3 business days, and they never threw the yellow. Mike Joy addressed it on the broadcast. Well, William Byron's coming to the line and the caution's out. They raced for 1.5 miles without throwing a yellow. And I think someone, Michael, you and your journalism brethren there at the track, I hope somebody has asked that question to NASCAR of, why did you guys sit on the whistle?
Yeah. That, once again, I've been around getting the drivers, so I haven't been able to ask that yet. But believe me, with all the people, all the bright minds in the media center here, all the people, the go-getters, we'll be on top of that. But the thing is, like, even when they do give an answer, we know it's not going to be rewarding, right? There will be some excuse, some reason why this is different than that. I mean, you want me to put a blunt opinion out there? I think they had a lot of controversial stuff so that they could launch their new podcast this week and get people to tune in.
I mean, that's certainly a possibility. The NASCAR, the official NASCAR officiating podcast, is launching this week. I'm sure they'll mention this, you would think.
But I'll be tuning in, that's for sure.
It'll be worth a listen just to hear what hear what they're thinking about, because it's a departure from everything we've seen recently. I can't think of a time where cars have crashed and they let the race play out. Now, sometimes they do it when they wipe out coming out of 4, but usually if there is a crash anywhere towards start finish, that yellow comes out immediately, because the answer has always been, we don't know how bad those hits were, or we saw some hard hits, or we can't have guys, on the gas through safety vehicles. And I've never been behind the wheel of a cup car, but I've always thought these are some of the best drivers in the world. That's how they're marketed. That's what we're told to believe. If you all don't know that the race is over and can slow that car down in 2 corners, what are you doing out? You shouldn't have a license. So it's either you can race back to the line, or as soon as someone's sideways, that yellow comes out. It can't be this, we're going to make a judgment call every week, because fans don't know what they're looking for, and fans don't know what to expect. Now, it wasn't going to change the outcome of the race. William Byron he was the only car to make it through that crash unscathed, and he had a 6-car length lead on Tyler Reddick. So if the yellow comes out as soon as Hamlin crashes, I think he's still up there. It might have been Cindric at that point. You'd have to go back and look at it. But if they wait until everybody cleared, he's still your winner. So it doesn't change the outcome. It's just a frustration, I think, for fans in general.
Right. It's just the inconsistency of it. Yeah, I agree with you. Either just go one way with it, let him race back like the good old days. Although it's a little dangerous. It can get a little dangerous. Like, there's a reason they started doing it. or just freeze the field. And look, I was fine with the duels, with Cindric getting the win in the duel over Jones because they threw the yellow. Like that was a big crash. Same with the Xfinity race yesterday. Like I think you should just you gotta consistently throw the yellow when it's a situation like that, like what you saw with Denny Hamlin tonight. And man, I wish we could have caught up with Denny. I went to the care center because I thought he was going there, and sure enough, he did not. But I'm
No,
sure
I
he'll
think he
have.
actually drove. I think he drove back. He was
Yeah,
TV interviewed him
yeah,
on pit road.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So missed out on him, and myself and some other journalists here missed out on him. Heard Jeff Buck say the same thing. But yeah, I'm sure he'll have. I'll have to go watch his TV interview and hear what he says on Actions Detrimental tomorrow. But yeah, I'm sure he wasn't too thrilled to just be wrecking for 8 years and no yellow come out. But I
He,
mean,
he kind of gave it that Denny shrug of like, we were all going for it. It's the last lap of the 500. I
sure.
thought I had a chance. Cole Custer thought he had a chance. It happens, and
Yeah,
and that's part of it. We saw a fair amount of aggression from the usual suspects today, um, but the top. Looking at the results now, uh, I wrote down as I was watching the race some notes. So I want to talk about kind of the biggest surprise of the race, and I think we got to give that to the old 7 time with the P3.
yeah, yes, absolutely. Jimmy Johnson. I mean, he kind of just you didn't see him up there most of the day because I think he was just biding his time. Obviously he's part time. Why would he go for stage points? And then later in the race, I think he's thinking they're going to wreck. But as it went on, he's climbing his way up the field. His other cars, his legacy teammates and employees of Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek, they were up there in the mix as well. Nemechek gets fifth. Jones had a
12th.
shot at the win, I think, and he got 12th. And yeah, I just think after last year, they were so they had such a terrible year last year, and to come out the gate and be that fast, have these good finishes, I think that's a huge boost of momentum for both of them, or the whole team. And it's cool that old 7 time, he's not washed yet. He's still
No,
got a
he's
little
not.
something left in the tank.
Certainly isn't. And I do believe that's the first time he's finished a restrictor plate race since like 2012.
Oh, I can believe that for sure.
I'm not, don't fact check me on that, but I know he and Kyle Larson have that can't finish a plate race curse. Larson got caught up in one of the ones there at the end, but looking at the top 10, Chase Briscoe, the pole sitter, finishes fourth in his debut race for Joe Gibbs Racing. Alex Bowman comes home sixth. Ryan Blaney rallies back to a seventh place finish. Justin Allgaier for Junior Motorsports comes home ninth, and Chris Buescher rounds out your top 10. So a lot of kind of some expected results there. Guys finished. The ones who run well at plate races were running up front at the end. But this race is not, I think, indicative. The first 2 races of the season not going to be indicative of how the season unfolds.
No, it
Because
never is.
we're going from here to another roll the dice facility in Atlanta.
Yeah. I mean, Brian, what do you think about it?
I mean, my biggest question for you is the wreck that kind of started all the chaos with Stenhouse and Logano. Who was in the right there? Who was in the wrong? I mean, on the live stream, we were beyond. People were vicious at Stenhouse, and then you hear all the drivers and they're mad at Logano. So, as someone that was there, who do you put the blame on?
I think both were being dumb. That is my opinion. Because look, there was not enough width for a race car where Joey Logano was trying to go. And then Stenhouse makes an aggressive block to make things worse. Then Logano has the option to lift, kind of back out of it, and it just seemed like he kept on getting into Ricky. And Ricky's not moving back up the track or anything. It just seemed like each one kept one-upping the level of dumbness in that wreck. And I know it's one of those things, it's going to be a he said, she said type thing between the two of them. It was. Logano very much said it was Ricky's fault when we talked to him at the care center, and vice versa. Ricky was more neutral. He said he'd have to look at the replay to really know what happened, but I just don't get what either one was trying to accomplish there. And obviously, like, that's what started the chaos. Like, that's the moment in time you point to as that's where this race went crazy.
Yeah, you can't win it from fourth with 20 to go, but they were certainly trying.
Absolutely.
All right, so final thoughts on the 2025 edition of the Daytona 500.
I don't know. I think it was a really good race most of the way through, and then I didn't enjoy, like, from the moment Ryan Preece flipped, that kind of took me out of it, and then it just seemed like it was like a demo derby after that, and I don't know. Like, kudos to William Byron. I will say that. Like, the guy is now a 2-time Daytona 500 winner, consecutive, just like Denny Hamlin, and that's impressive. The guy, I mean, all he's really missing now is the championship to really solidify himself to the next step. So the guy really is just a superstar in the making. But something about this racing, all these wrecks and all that, it just left something to be desired. And then having Elio in the race get crashed out, having Truex in there get crashed out, like, at least we had Jimmy Johnson as a storyline to come through in third. So, but yeah, I don't know. There's been worse Daytona 500s. I'll leave it at that.
There have, for sure. This one at least was enjoyable. It was fun to watch. It's a shame Elio didn't get the full 500 experience, but great to see Project 91 and Trackhouse let a guy whose credentials are as vast and deep as Elio's compete there. And rumors that the GOAT, the Iceman, Scott Dixon, may be the next IndyCar champ and Indy 500 winner to take a turn at the Daytona 500. That'd be something. I as an IndyCar guy, I would love to see Dixie turn some laps there at the Speedway. It'd be pretty cool. So, anything else? I think we've run the gamut of the post-race conversation. Michael, glad you guys survived the rain and the pomp and circumstance that is the Daytona 500. You and Dalton for all week provided excellent coverage for us here on Frontstretch at frontstretch.com. So good job. Get back to your hotel safely. Get some rest because, again, we get to do this all over again in a week's time.
Yeah, you and Dalton crushed it this entire week. I know you guys got a lack of sleep, but I mean, every single day you guys just absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Y'all know I got to walk back in the media center, right? My head's got to fit through the door.
I know. Trying to squeeze through.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to watch the race with my feet up and slippers on, so you're there doing the hard work.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on and you guys doing this show, and another season is underway, and we got a Daytona 500 in on a Sunday. Yes.
We did, and that leads us to our next. Nobody had to find another night at a My Place hotel because My Place is the proud sponsor and official sponsor of Frontstretch. Plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet-friendly hotels. My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling. Race fans can use promo code Frontstretch to save 10% on your stay at any of their nationwide properties. That's 10% off nationwide with code Frontstretch. If you don't know how to spell it, it's right there on the screen, frontstretch.com. It's on everybody's wearing, well, Brian didn't get the memo to wear the branded shirt, but you're pinch hitting for our good buddy Phil Spain, who is without power. So this racing season, be sure to make My Place your place. We are very grateful of all our sponsors and our friends, especially My Place, Vivid EV, Custom Patch Hats, everybody who works so hard to bring you all this at-track coverage. Michael, Dalton, appreciate you guys. Brian, thanks for stepping in. And we will talk to you all next time around here on Post Race Conversations Live which is really fun to do. And hopefully the next race will not be delayed by rain, weather, or other things, because we are now 2 for 2 in PRCs that are bumping into the 11 o'clock hour. So, fellas, a pleasure as always. Good to see you. Good to chat. And we will talk next time.
My Place Hotels is proud to be the official hotel partner of Frontstretch. With plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet-friendly hotels, My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling. Frontstretch fans can use promo code FRONTSTRETCH to save 10% on your stay at any of our nationwide properties. Sign up for our Stay Rewarded program to get even more savings. With My Place Hotels, don't just stay, stay rewarded. My Place Hotels is proud to be the official hotel partner of Frontstretch. With plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet-friendly hotels, My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling. Frontstretch fans can use promo code FRONTSTRETCH to save 10% on your stay at any of our nationwide properties. Sign up for our Stay Rewarded program to get even more savings. With My Place Hotels, don't just stay, stay rewarded.